an auspicious
You,
date.
however, in order to write this phone, of course, had to have a Windows phone, and you have one. We've seen it.
Yep.
You've talked as much as you could about it. But now you're not using it. What are you using?
Well, no, okay. Actually, I am using it, but what happened was, I'm actually an employee of this company that's like the Viacom of this industry. I don't know. It's kind of this huge company that does all these different things, only some of which are related to technology. And there's some interesting aspects to that. But, one of them is, they want to send me a computer.
Shocking.
And I have to have this conversation with them, like, your computer is of no interest to me. I have
I have computers, my friend.
I have 11 computers that I can see
take
from
the
where I'm
company
sitting.
computer. It'd probably have special spyware on it just for you.
Actually, a year ago, they sent me it was funny. It was one of those Apple Tower boxes, the Mac Pro box, which is the size of my Volkswagen. And inside of it was about, 25 gallons of popcorn and and a computer, like a Dell computer.
Not a Mac.
And, no, not a Mac. Neither one was welcome.
That is just such
a stupid thing. They sent like a tower computer and a huge screen and a keyboard and a mouse and speakers and all this stuff. So I kind of opened the box and I looked at it and I was like, yeah, okay, whatever. And so I put it down. It's been sitting in my cellar. And so anyway, they want me to get on the VPN. Anyway, they're sending me a laptop. Okay, fine. But they're like, you got to get a phone. I'm like, I have a phone. They're like, yeah, but you got to get a phone, that's on our system and we can do the exchange stuff on it and everything. And I'm like, but I have a phone. But they want me to have their phone.
This is, by the way, not just you. This is, I think a lot of people are starting to, isn't this what our guest said last week? Was that more and more, it's not work choosing the phone. It's the employee choosing the phone, and somehow work has to figure out how to make it work. But
I don't know why this just came up now. It's very strange. A year ago, I resisted the phone. And I thought I resisted the computer, but like I said, they sent me one, so I just ignored it. And then now they're like, you got to get a phone. And I said, well, if you're going to make me get a phone, can I wait until November so I can get a Windows phone? And, no, you got to get a phone now.
Oh, jeez.
Like, all right. So what are the choices? So it's on Verizon. Okay. I'm like, all right. Send me a Droid phone, So I got a Droid X.
Oh, you're gonna love it.
Yeah, I do like it. I like it quite a bit. I've been playing around with it and using it, and having just written the Windows Phone book, and of course having 3 years or whatever it is of experience with the iPhone, it's very, very interesting to me to see what they've done here, with Android. And I ended up writing about it. It's funny how it happened. It was very organic in the sense that I started out writing a short blog post, and then I said, there's enough stuff here. This could be an article. And then I wrote an article, and as I'm writing it, the direction changed completely. Really, my initial point was just, I've been using this thing for the past week based on my experience with other phones. Here's some of the things that I think high level are interesting about Android, good, bad, or indifferent. But the more I started examining the various aspects of it, the more I came to understand why this thing is number one and why it will always be number one, at least for the foreseeable future.
Tell me, because I've felt this way for some time, but I'd like to know what you think.
Yeah. So the stuff that's good about it is, well, in my case, with the Droid X specifically, obviously you've got that huge screen. It's the type of thing I prefer. I think
me too.
Some people might prefer smaller screens, maybe because they're smaller people or, or women or whatever. But I think for someone like me, like this ginormous screen, it's just beautiful and it's very powerful. It's a very interesting device. The form factor is beautiful. Yeah, I
agree. I mean, you feel like it's a skating rink. It's so big.
It feels nice too. It's got that interesting kind of grippable, rubberized plastic, whatever that is. It feels nice. It's got a nice, solid.
I like the finish. I even like the bump at the top. I mean, it's very, very thin.
Well, the bump at the top is actually nice because you can immediately tell which end is up.
Yeah,
that's something with the iPhone. You have to kind of feel around for the home button.
It's actually a little. It seems a little bit thinner. I should take the case off the iPhone, which is of course a necessity. But it seems a little. Well, yeah, it's a little bit thinner.
That's close enough.
It's close.
To me, whatever. I mean, the screen to me, the screen size makes a big difference. People who are, obviously the Apple Retina screen stuff is beautiful, but I think the bigger screen is a bigger deal.
Oh, I agree.
It's high res enough.
I agree. And I think the ability to the larger keyboard, just a slightly larger keyboard, also makes it more usable.
Yep. So the Android OS itself is very interesting because they've arrived here very quickly, you know? And this is the Google style of development where you throw something out there and then you improve it.
Right.
And you don't improve it in 18 weeks or 18
iterative.
months.
Yeah.
It improves and improves and improves. And it's very, very interesting. It's inconsistent all over the place, which I think some people may, find off-putting, perhaps. I mean, there's a certain safety to the Apple stuff, right? You know, it's going to be consistent and beautiful and all that. But this reminds me very much. I'm not charting new ground here or anything. This is the Windows versus the Mac all over again. There's no doubt that this thing's going to win.
I think so.
It is the sweaty, dirty masses at the gates, and they're going to win. There's no doubt. I mean, they've already won. They have won. It's now. I think that down the road, I'm going to have to do some kind of a side-by-side comparison of this system with Windows Phone and iPhone. I think they all are extremely viable. And I think between those three, we're looking at the future of smartphones. I think those three are, in fact, the major, smartphone platforms of the future. I feel like they're all kind of neck and neck.
I also like the Voice Anywhere feature. Did you get 2.0 or 2.2 on it yet?
Yeah.
So now you can dictate anything. You just press, at any point in the keyboard, you just press the microphone button and you can dictate any time, which I think is pretty cool.
So there is a dark side to the Android stuff. And I'm surprised that this doesn't get more attention. There are specific features, or actually lack of features, that I find bizarre in something that's actually been around for a couple of years now, right? Like the digital media sync is all over the place. There's no iTunes, there's no one thing. And it's interesting to me, having written about this, the sheer number of responses I've gotten, all recommending different things, There are ways, there's a weird thing with Android when you plug it into the computer, you have to choose through software the mode it's going to sync, connect with. Right? And one of those modes will allow Windows to see it as a hard drive, and then you can copy content to it from Windows Media Player or whatever.
By the way, if you do that a lot, you can make it so that's the default, and it always does that just automatically.
Right. But it's a thing you have to do and know to do.
You have to know about it. But
it's very, there is a certain safety, like I said, to the Apple stuff. If you
still have that choice in Apple, though. If you mark it in iTunes to use it as a disk, there's a checkbox.
No. I know, but I'm saying, in other words, you have some music or a movie or a TV show or something, a podcast you subscribe to.
Right.
Getting that stuff onto an iPhone is very straightforward.
I agree. Even though it's iTunes, which we've agreed we don't like.
I don't like it, but you know what? It is straightforward. And on the Android side,
get double twist, Paul.
I don't like double twist. I've tried everything.
I love double twist. Have you tried it recently? It is just like iTunes. It lets you sync up.
Maybe that's why
everything.
I don't like it. It's slower than Get All. I mean, it's really slow. Anyway,
it is slow, and they say they're fixing that.
Double twist. Double twist shouldn't exist. There should be a Google Media Service, whatever. It's amazing.
Now wait a minute, though. I'm not sure that that's a bad thing. I mean, it means that instead of Apple's situation where there's one and only one way to do it,
right? You
have a choice.
I would like there to be a Google thing and then a choice.
Okay.
In other words, I think and not for me personally. I mean, I can figure this stuff out, right? I wanted to take a screenshot of the screen, so
I think there will be. By the way, Google Music's going to be out in the next month or so.
Right, but the Android's been out for 2 years.
Yeah, I'm saying it just took them a while. It's that iteration thing you talked about.
Yeah. But I'm thinking of my wife and normal people. That
you cannot. By the way, I don't know how you got a Droid X because you can't walk into a Verizon store and get one. It is so popular that they're back ordered.
Right, because it's because I work for the Viacom of the of this industry is why. But anyway, so that's odd. The marketplace, the Android marketplace, and again, it astonishes me the sheer number of emails I got. Try AppBrain, try this, try this. I have no idea how Google gets away with Android marketplace.
Really?
I mean this from a legal standpoint.
Oh,
it is a UI disaster. First of all, there is no way to browse this store and find anything. You can get, for example, a lot of the popular iPhone apps that I like are in fact in the Google or the Android marketplace. I would never know that unless I knew their exact names and could search for them.
Right.
But there is some stuff in there. How this company has not been sued for this. The Android marketplace is like a giant bucket of IP violations. It's astonishing. So coincidentally,
I find this pretty browsable. I mean, you can find the category. You go through the category. They have top paid, top free, just in. There's a search.
Right.
I mean, it doesn't have iTunes.
No. But I'm just talking apps here. If you were to compare the top 10 paid and free apps on the Google Android marketplace with the ones from the iPhone.
That's true. Yeah, there's a lot
I think
of
you'd
crap.
be shocked at the difference.
Yeah, there's a lot of crap.
It's crazy how much gunk there is in there. I mean, it's just it's clogged with crap. So this is a little off to the side, but on Sunday there was an editorial in the New York Times by Thomas Friedman, right? We probably recommend his books.
Oh yeah.
Thomas Friedman does something that actually sometimes I find kind of annoying. He'll go to China or India or wherever, and then he'll go or Africa one time. He writes on and on and on and on about we get it, But he wrote this thing about China that I actually found really interesting, and he was talking about China and compared to the United States and where they perceive where they are and where they perceive where we are and how we perceive the world. In the United States, of course, we think of ourselves as being number one. And, we're number one at everything, right? We're the best at everything. And to China, who's moving very quickly and doing things that here would just be completely illegal to make it happen. They look at us as fat and slow and the also-ran and yesterday's superpower, and they have no respect for us at all. And it was a really interesting editorial, and I put a link to it in the show notes. Not because I want to discuss China and the United States, but because I saw some interesting parallels between this China-U.S. thing and Android, or Google, which is China in this story, and the United States, which is Apple or the rest of the cell phone industry. And that, Google in many ways is cheating, to get ahead. Like they're doing things that, in other words, Apple has come under fire for having these crazy App Store policies, which in some way I have to agree with. But on the other hand, what they've ended up with is this very curated experience that's very high quality. Google has just opened the floodgates and said, screw it, we're not even going to look. And if somebody, wants to come by and complain because there are 117,000 apps in there that rip off the Simpsons TV show, then that's their responsibility. They can complain. But we would never stop them from making those apps. Whereas on the Apple side, that app would never make it through, to the Apple Store because it's clearly an IP violation.
And you think this is good for who? Why?
Well, I think what it is allowing Google to do is jump ahead very quickly. Like they found a way to
just like YouTube.
Share.
Just like YouTube. That's why YouTube jumped ahead, right? Copyright, massive copyright violation.
It's exactly like YouTube. And what's amazing is, Google is so huge and makes so much money. And I mean, yes, you read stuff about Google, obviously, but by and large, no one's really complaining. Microsoft was sued for antitrust violations for the PC industry, but this company, we're talking about, this is kind of like everything here, isn't it? I mean, it's amazing to me that there isn't some governmental oversight of this company occurring yet. It's amazing, and it like I said, it reminds me of the early days of the PC industry, when the Mac kind of pioneered with the GUI and everything, and everyone could see this was the future. And then they just got run over by the Windows clones, the PC clones. And it was like the, the barbarians storming Rome at the end of that, the Middle Ages or whatever. I mean, it's you can just see it happening. It's so clearly happening, So Android is interesting to me. If you're in the market for a smartphone, and you don't mind a little on the edge roughness, I guess I'd call it a Wild Westness or whatever however you want to say it. There is a kind of an interesting UI inconsistency that is across the board in all the Google apps and all the stuff that's on the phone and all that. There are weird differences between the phones. If you get a Droid X or you get this other phone or this other phone, you get different stuff, different versions of the OS, the same version of the OS, but implemented differently. I mean, there are good and bad sides, to what Google does, but it's
I just like choice, and there is an Apple, there is a Microsoft, and there is a Google. That's good.